High-Tech High International, a charter school in Point Loma, is home away from home for nearly 400 9th through 12th grade students. Founded on project-based learning, globalization, and technology, this school has often been portrayed as the model for education's future. However, there's more to this story. This place was previously known as Building 51. Built in 1952, it was the foundry on the former Naval Training Base. Tracking back further through time, this used to be the land of the Native American Kumeyaay tribe. With humans living and dying here for so many generations, the question soon arises, is our building haunted?
I love stories, and I really do believe that people have experienced things here.
Some experiences were like just seeing people that were there for like a second, and then like when I'm actually like focusing on that area, they're gone.
There was a lot of voices, a lot of shadow movements.
Middle of the night, you would hear doors like slamming, like pop.
Get it in, and I heard like a scream.
I heard what I can only describe as a woman screaming. It was very high pitched.
As you see, various people have reported paranormal activity at our school, varying from shadowy figures, slamming doors, and flickering lights to what is most often reported, a muffled female scream. After hearing these stories, 9th grade humanities teacher Jill Chiodini became interested.
Last year, Mr. Major and I did a project in which we took our students camping, and one of our chaperones was Ed Handog. And we were sitting around the campfire one night, and we were telling ghost stories, and Ed all of a sudden said, "Do you guys want to hear a ghost story about the school?" And he proceeded to tell us a story about all these different experiences that he has had while working here alone late at night.
As they talked, an idea began to form. They wanted to figure out the truth behind these stories, and slowly, our project came into life. As a team, we then investigated the physics behind ghosts, looking into sound and light, as well as looking into the history surrounding NTC. Soon, San Diego ghost hunters became involved, bringing their specific expertise to the project. It culminated by spending 2 overnights at the school to investigate the reported paranormal activity. We wanted to finally settle the question, is our school truly haunted?
Is there a ghost in High-Tech High International? And if so, did the ghost come because of a tragic event that occurred during the time when this building was a part of the Naval Training Center? In 1916, the Naval Training Center, or NTC, was built and became largely known across the United States as one of the premier facilities to prepare young recruits for their naval careers. Throughout the time NTC was open, it grew to about 200 acres of land and had over 300 buildings. Building 51, known today as High-Tech High International, was built in 1952. It was used as a foundry and later became a school for incoming sailors. There was only one reported death in Building 51, but it was never linked to ghost activity. There were 4 major phases to the construction of Building 51. The first was the initial building in 1952. It was a 1-story building that was used to store machinery and weapons. The second, third, and fourth phases occurred in the 1980s. During this time, a second story was added and created the shell of what is now present-day High-Tech High International. In 1993, the Navy announced that it intended to close the base due to the Realignment Act of 1990. On April 30th, 1997, all active military use of the base ended.
Do you have like a favorite memory from when you were at boot camp?
Yeah, when I got out.
NTC sat seemingly dormant until it was bought by Corky McMillan in 2000. During this time, an artist named Mr. Wazel created an art studio in the old foundry known as Building 51. Mr. Wazel was a well-known artist who created oversized figures out of bronze, such as the statue of Jack Murphy and his dog that greets Charger fans as they enter Qualcomm Stadium. After retiring, he became extremely fascinated with art, and it became his life. Sadly, Mr. Wazel was later diagnosed with a disease that claimed his ability to use his hands. He became so distraught that he committed suicide on October 5th, 2008. He was 56. While his death did not occur in our building, could the spirit be Mr. Wazel coming back to the place where he was both fulfilled and tormented? Although there was only one reported death in Building 51 during the time it was occupied by the Navy, there were many other deaths throughout the base. Many were suicides, allegedly due to the loss of a recruit's wife or girlfriend to another man during their time away.
The men, basically, like I say, they would have fiancées, girlfriends, and they couldn't wait more than 2 months or whatever, and they'd write them Dear Johns. And being you couldn't leave, you were trapped here. You couldn't, the idea you would rush home and try to fix it, you couldn't. And so there were guys that cut their wrist or they jumped out the second story long. And I was on guard one night in Nimitz when a guy jumped out the second story patio into the clothesline. And we used to call the master-at-arms or whatever, and they showed up, took him away. I have no idea if he made it or not. He hit awfully hard. And it was concrete.
However, one additional recent death may have seemingly been connected to the haunting of the old buildings of NTC. On July 30th, 1995, a young 18-year-old homeless woman named Shannon Conway was found dead on Crane Road in San Marcos. She was allegedly murdered. Many witnesses claim that she got in a car with an unknown man just days before she was found. A man was initially arrested, but his DNA was unable to be linked to the crime scene. In 2007, Detective Rick Scully reopened the case, which led to the arrest of Michael E. Williams in 2009. After he was found, detectives discovered that he had been in the Navy in July of 1995 and was stationed in NTC during the time of Conway's murder. He deserted his duty 3 days after her body was discovered. The car that Conway was seen getting into was also found at his residence. Williams' arrest led to his conviction. He was sentenced to life in prison. Could Conway's untimely murder have caused her ghost to reside in Building 51? Could this be a connection to the numerous accounts of a woman's screams that we have heard by various people at HTHI? There are many speculations, but we may never know for sure.
The Kumeyaay people have been in San Diego ever since the Indians came across the Bering Strait from Asia thousands of years ago. The Kumeyaay lived all over San Diego, specifically where our school is now located in Point Loma. They lived in peace until the Spanish arrived in 1542. When Cabrillo sailed into the San Diego Bay, his ships were greeted by arrows shot at them by the Native Americans. His men invaded the Kumeyaay's territory, causing murderous fighting. The Spanish, with their advanced weapons and deadly diseases, soon devastated many tribes and started settling all over San Diego. The Spanish viciously killed Indian men, women, and even children in order to gain control of the land. At one point, it was estimated that there were about 20,000 Kumeyaay Indians. After the invasion, there were only about 3,000 left. Louis Husak, a member of San Diego's Kumeyaay tribe, explained more about the ill treatment of the Kumeyaay by the Spanish.
Their presumption was that when they were here, it's their land, and if we were there and we were in their way of progress, we were just an obstacle. So they took whatever means necessary to remove the obstacle, which meant, killing, slaughtering, starving out, whatever they needed to do.
The Spanish made way to white settlers from the east coast of the United States, who still acted like the land of San Diego was theirs, and more Indians were killed. Eventually, all coastal Indians in San Diego were forced on a 3-day trail of tears to reservations in inhospitable East County, San Diego. The land was given to the U.S. Navy by the U.S. government, who turned it into the Naval Training Center in 1919. The Kumeyaay were not happy about this because the United States government unrightfully gave what wasn't theirs away. In 1993, after the end of the Cold War, the U.S. government decided they no longer needed so many military facilities and officially closed its doors in 1996. The Navy sold the land to a wealthy developer, Corky McMillan, anyway, without even listening to the Kumeyaay's proposal. The Kumeyaay were baffled at how unfair they were being treated once again. Could the spirits haunting our school be the Kumeyaay people that were politically discriminated against recently? Are the spirits upset that the land was not returned to its original owners? Or are they forced to relive the horrors committed against them?
Since opening in 2004, there have been reports by staff and students alike of strange sounds that cannot be explained. Some say it's just the building settling in its sandy base. Others have come to believe that there is something else, something non-living, possibly a spirit, that fiddles with objects, opens and closes doors to let us know that it is here. High-Tech High's International's own tech guy, Ed Handog, has been working here for 4 years and has experienced some weird activity going on.
I was sitting in my office after school with my intern, and after we were going over through what we've done that day, as we were talking, his lunch bag moved from about a span of about 6 feet by itself right behind him as we were talking. The second thing is just things in my office knocking over like monitors and stuff like that.
Other members of the High-Tech High International community have also experienced unexplainable events. LJ, Ed's son, has experienced some activities while working with Ed.
Some experiences were like just seeing people that were there for like a second, and then like when I'm actually like focusing on that area, they're gone. Or just like stuff in my house moving. I heard women's voices. I was in the staff kitchen. All of a sudden we started hearing noises like a moaning noise, like a My dad thought it was me actually, and then my mom thought we were just messing around because she heard it too, and we were just like, whoa, it wasn't any of us. So
still don't believe that something weird is going on?
So I was sitting there and I was doing my work. It was late and I was trying to rush down, get it in, and I heard like a scream. When I first came into the commons, I was messing around, like, whoa, like making noises and stuff, just trying to mess around because I was by myself. And then I actually heard a scream, and I looked around a couple times, and then I just grabbed my papers and just dipped out of the class and just ran all the way downstairs and told my teacher.
Lo que pasa es que casi todo el tiempo trato de hacer mi trabajo arriba lo más pronto posible porque no quiero estar yo sola ahí arriba. Y si aquí es escalofriante estar en la noche en esta área, ahora no es escalofriante estar arriba cuando estoy yo solita. Por eso trato de casi no ir, de terminar rápido arriba para ya no tener que ir.
Think these kids and Ed would go so far to make up stories just to fool you? The truth is that these people that experience these happenings without even consulting one another.
Y de repente estuve parado pegado a la puerta y comencé a experimentar mucho frío. Frío, muy frío se puso el lugar y de repente como si alguien estaba a mi lado.
Are ghosts real? Who knows? And is our school actually haunted? Our teachers designed a project to stay overnight and see. To help us navigate the spirit world, we have enlisted the assistance of the San Diego Ghost Hunters.
By the time the sun was coming down, the San Diego Ghost Hunters started to set up equipment in bathrooms, classrooms, common spaces, and the UN Theater. Before anything happened, we interviewed the San Diego Ghost Hunters. With 30 years of experience, Maritza, one of the co-founders of San Diego Ghost Hunters, has worked at the Whaley House and the Hotel del Coronado, uncovering evidence to support that these buildings are haunted. With her assistance, the Whaley House has been named one of the 10 most haunted buildings in the United States. Now Maritza is officially working to help us with our own investigation. We asked Marissa, when she first came into our school, what was the first thing that captured her attention? She responded.
The round room. When we first came in, the round room caught our attention. It had some different energy in there, and it proved to be very haunted.
Then we asked Maritza, has San Diego Ghost Hunters ever visited NTC before? She responded.
No, we never visited NTC before until the night we did the investigation.
Colleen is a lead investigator with the San Diego Ghost Hunters, and she works alongside Maritza to uncover paranormal evidence. We asked Colleen from what she has heard from our teachers if she thought there was a possibility that there is stuff going on here. She responded.
I know there is. Definitely. came in earlier, Maritza and I came in and we went into a bunch of different rooms. We went upstairs. We opened up some of the classrooms. We went inside the classrooms. We did a couple of EVP sessions, and we've already gotten spirits talking.
Matthew has lived all his life with paranormal experiences. When conducting an investigation, Matthew is the person who brings all technical equipment to locate and confirm the presence of spirits. We asked Matt what procedures he goes through while setting up. He responded.
The first thing that we want to do is we want to scout out the location, obviously, to see if there's technical problems in terms of finding electricity for the equipment and all that. We want to go in, and as soon as we determine that there's no problems for electricity or power usage or locations, then what we'd like to do is we'd like to go in and take pictures of the complete establishment and start creating a standard for what we will then go by at a later time in case we catch any anomalies. So that standard includes, like I just mentioned, pictures. I'll take EMF detectors and other equipment, thermometers, and analyze the areas that we're going to investigate later to establish a standard, and then set up whatever equipment that we feel is necessary for the investigation.
With such an experienced crew, we looked forward to our investigation.
On Thursday, May 5th and Friday, May 13th, the 9th graders in Jill Chiodini and Jeff Major's classes stayed overnight at High Tech High International, along with the San Diego Ghost Hunters, to try and capture evidence of paranormal activity. Students that stayed the night said they experienced very interesting and mysterious activity. We talked to students about what they experienced.
I thought we might hear some disembodied voices.
A group of students said that they were in the UN Theater with the Ghost Hunters listening to the Ovilus, a device that helps ghosts speak to people. Through the Ovilus, the ghosts said some very strange things.
But a lot of these are new words.
Minister.
They're some of the Indians.
Whoa,
it started over again.
Baron.
You have to literally shut it off for it to do that. It's describing a murder that maybe happened upstairs.
After all of this, it seems as if it might be possible that there is paranormal activity at High Tech High International. However, students here at High Tech High International are always taught to question and investigate what they believe. Using a variety of devices to detect paranormal activity and/or spirits, the class of 2014 and the San Diego Ghost Hunters stayed up all night attempting to find and record evidence of paranormal activity.
Let's leave the door open. Just kind of stand there. And then wait for me.
EVP session, Aaron Wyatt's room, 9th grade, Humanities, room 4. It kind of feels heavy in here. Can you tell me your name?
The footage and audio that was captured by the San Diego Ghost Hunters is very impressive and makes the thought of paranormal activity at High Tech High International sound very possible.
During our overnight event, many people experienced what they believed to be paranormal activity. We examined the evidence that was recorded in Aaron Wyatt's room.
EVP session, Aaron Wyatt's room, 9th grade, Humanities, room 4. It kind of feels heavy in here.
What we did was recreate the exact situation as the night of the event, including opening the grommets to the partition between Mr. Major and Jill's classroom and holding Aaron's classroom door open, as you can clearly hear it shut after the EVP recording. Then we had a student in Mr. Major's room yell the word "mother" as loud as he could, since the students were in the room when the EVP was captured. 2 rooms over in Aaron's room, we set up a camera and EVP voice recorder. The goal of the experiment was to see if it was possible to pick up someone yelling on the voice recorder when they are 2 rooms away. So I have the recorder in my hand and I'm pressing record right now, and I will use my phone to call Adam, who's in the room 2 over. Call him on speaker so you can hear it, and I'll tell him to start yelling. Hey Adam, can you go ahead and yell for us?
Yes, I can.
So I heard the scream with my ears, but maybe we can see if we caught it on the recording, and maybe see if this was actually possible to debunk. We discovered that in no way is it possible to capture the voice of someone yelling in 2 rooms away on the voice recorder. Even with the door being open and the partition not being soundproof, it's still impossible. Carly Rosen was in the 9th grade Commons when the San Diego Ghost Hunters captured the EVP.
Outside Mr. Major's room in the Commons, Maritza and Colleen passed me to go into Aaron Wyatt's room so they could do a session in there to see if they heard anything or saw anything. And there was no noise out in the Commons. It was dead silent. Everybody was either in Mr. Major's room, in the Senior Commons, or in the multimedia room. And there was nobody out there. No chance that anybody made any noise.
During the night, a group of students and a group of San Diego Ghost Hunters entered the girls' downstairs bathroom with an EVP recorder and captured some pretty compelling evidence.
I've got the recorder in my hand. Can you tell me your name?
Yeah, so I was in the bathroom with that group, and it was completely quiet the whole time, and it was awkward because it was like the first room we were experimenting in, so it was completely quiet, and like we didn't hear anything at all. Like 5 minutes to the when we started, that we didn't hear anything. We weren't talking at all. We were just staring at the lights that were on the roof, on the ceiling, because we were seeing if something like a shadow or something popped up. So it was completely quiet. We didn't hear that case too little sound.
We were sitting in the bathroom and there was no sounds and nobody made sounds. And when we played back the recording, we heard it, and it was really weird.
Next, we attempted to debunk the Ovilus session that was recorded in the UN Theater. We asked Matt if it's possible to manipulate the Ovilus in any way.
Can you, program the Ovilus to say certain words?
Again, no, it's a dumb machine, meaning it can't learn. Mm-hmm. It's programmed with the 512 words, and that's it.
During the nights of our investigations, our class as a whole spent the hours of darkness in High Tech High International. Typically, students spend their waking hours at school, but for tonight, the rules have changed. During our investigation, we experienced unexplainable sounds, sights, and situations. The San Diego Ghost Hunters accompanied us in order to reveal the untold stories within the walls of High Tech High International. Maritza explained to us how her most valuable device is her psychic ability.
Well, I use my psychic abilities that I have, and then
a lot of the equipment we use, like the meters and stuff, it can sense when they come.
She also briefly mentions how the K2 meters and voice boxes can be very helpful in contacting spirits. Maritza explains how she heard sounds such as shuffling, scratching, and brief subtle voices.
I heard a lot of real-time voices, and I heard like shuffling, and in one of the rooms we heard scratching on the wall when we'd ask a question.
She also explains her feelings such as chills due to the ghost altering the energy around someone. Maritza explains how she heard moaning in room 10, where cases of a woman screaming have been heard.
Room 10 was one of the most active because when we walked in there, we were told that that area is where the woman has been heard screaming.
Colleen tells us how ghosts are more likely to make their presence known when kids are around.
One thing that I will say is that whenever you're in a place where there are spirits or energy, or even residual energy, having teenagers, younger children in the building actually brings out the spirits more. So your energy helped to bring them out.
High Tech High International hid in the shadows when it came to paranormal activity. It wasn't until our teachers created this project that our school has become known for something other than a place of education. This project is one which opened new doors that have been known to open and close on their own, without explanation.